with a greater rate of change, right? So as I'm looking at yours, we had this one, our slope or our m was equal to 5 or 5 over 1. And again, you can find that by adding 5 at any of these places, right? And noticing that the x changes by 1, okay? When I look here, my slope was 2.5. So if I'm looking for the greater rate of change, it should be A. 5 is bigger than 2.5. If I would have asked you for the y-intercept, the y-intercept is going back and finding the 0 point here, which means I would subtract 5, so 3 minus 5 would give us a negative 8, right? And still, if I'm looking at this one and I have negative 8, here my larger y-intercept, if I was asking you that question, would have been B. So, end of the year, we come back, we have Monday off. That Tuesday, we'll be doing a review worksheet kind of for this. That Wednesday, you'll be taking your last test. It's going to be like a final covering everything. That's why all those questions, okay? We don't have school Memorial Day weekend. We have that Monday off. And Tuesday, we come back, we'll review. Wednesday, we'll take your test. Looking at your 17 worksheet, questions. Questions that I can take a look at or go over, and inside angle right here have to be how many degrees? 70 degrees, okay? Now, this is telling us right here that these two are parallel lines, right? That this is a parallel line and this is a parallel line, right? That those two lines are parallel. Okay, is this going to work for you to sit there or do I have to move you? Oh, you okay? Yeah. Okay, so if we look, we know this is 70. Inside this triangle right here, we already have two of the measures. What does the other one have to be? Down here. So I might add those two and they equal 135. What does this angle have to be? That doesn't make sense. It definitely has to be 45 degrees, okay? Now, if this angle is 70, and out here this is 110, right? That means this whole angle here has to be the same as here, 110. Which means this has to be how many degrees? 70 plus what gives us 110? 40. So if this is 40, this one is 70. We're looking at these being, if we're looking at these angles. So when we start looking at this, it says, how do we know, in that first triangle, we found this was a 45-degree angle. So does it look like these two triangles are going to be similar? Because this is what you're asked to do in your homework today. You're going to have the stapled together cards and you're trying to figure out, you're not going to write on those cards, but you're going to kind of write this on the back of this worksheet. Do these two triangles look similar? Is triangle, if we were going to put right below on your worksheet, is triangle ABC similar or not to triangle ACD? So here was our angle A, right? This is D down here. Here is C and here is B. So A to B, can we find how many degrees here? What do we have to subtract? 40 plus 70, that 110 should be 70. So when I have the angles going around here, are these two going to be similar or not? Do they have two angles congruent? Triangle ABC and triangle ACD are what? Congruent or similar or not? Do we have two? So I have a 70. Yep, I have a 70. Here I have a 45. I have a 45. Here I have 70, 60, and 65 and 45. 70, 70, and 40. Are they similar? Do we have two angles congruent in each? Similar or not? Raise your hand for not similar. Right on. Yes, exactly. Those of you that didn't raise your hand, you are wrong. What you needed to show in each triangle, two that were, so these are not similar. And now you have to tell why. right? So in triangle ACD, the missing angle, you want to write this on your worksheet. I'm helping you out with the first answer. I'm not going to help you with many more. Angle ACD, the missing angle, is 45 degrees, right? How did we know that? Because 180 minus, I heard someone say before, the 135, right, was equal to 45. We found that right away. In our other triangle, we were able to find the missing angles because of supplementary. So in triangle ABC, we had angle B equaling 70 degrees because it was supplementary to 110. We said that angle BA, and we're going to use three letters, BAC was equal to 40 degrees. Write this down with number 1. And the reason we knew that was 40 degrees was because it was a corresponding angle with the 70 degrees, corresponding with the 70 degrees to that 110 degrees. So 110 minus 70 gave us 40. Because this was 110 out here, this whole angle had to be 110. And then angle ACB had to equal 70 degrees. And the reason it equaled 70 was inside a triangle. The three angles must sum to equal 180. And the reason it is not similar is you only had one pair of congruent angles. If you have two pairs, that's when it's similar. We only had one. Okay? Yes. Which one? Right here. Supplementary. I just abbreviated. I can write the whole thing out for you. I know my writing isn't great up here. To the 110. So you're going to do question number 2. On the back is where you're going to use these cards. So I want you to look at, with your shoulder partner, A, and you're not going to write on this right now. But what they're telling us is that these two are the same and that these are parallel lines. Right? So you're not going to write on these cards, but if this happens to be 55 degrees, and these are isosceles triangles, what do you know about this angle? If this is an isosceles triangle, it is have to be 55 degrees. Okay? You're not writing on your card, but you're kind of looking at this. Okay? So with your shoulder partners, this is what you're going to be working on. So this is 55, 55, and how much? At 55 and 55, what do you know? It has to be how many degrees? Yes, but how much would this angle up here have to be?
70 degrees.
70. Okay, I agree that those two total to 110. But so what you're going to be asked to do over here is it says sort the cards by telling if they're similar or not. There are 4 that are similar, there are 2 that are not similar, and there are 2 that you cannot tell from these cards. Once you have looked at your cards, and you kind of have to think about finding these missing things. So now you want to think about these 2 angles, and will they be, can you figure them out? And because we have this angle, and if you are thinking about like alternate interior angles, right? Like here's our lines, right? Like we could figure this angle out to be 70 if that one's 70. And then we have 55, so can we figure out? So with your shoulder partners, you kind of want to do this. And where you're doing this work is you're not going to write on Actually, put your name on these sheets and you can write on here and put as much information. Put both your names on your sheet. You guys are just gonna have one for your group. So put your name on the top of that. So you can draw and write on here. You need to check with me for these, which ones you got. You're gonna tell me like, oh, I think A goes here, or A goes here, or A goes here. I'll tell you it's not in the last one for sure. But you are working right now with your card. You can write on these, you can draw on them, you can fill in the information. So you probably want to at least fill this in that I have up here and continue from there. You and your shoulder partner are together on it, okay? When you finish, the 18 in your workbook is what you are working on.